for it.
So I was doing some thinking and I dreamed up a couple of possibilities that might be a good fit for solving this um, dilemma that we came across. One of them, and you can let me know what your thoughts are on this. One of them was voting. I know you kind of wanted to bring some new product line into the store, and I'm really okay with that. But I'd have a hard time convincing and getting other satellite people to come in and get other small stores. So one of the things that I thought maybe a solution was voting and having like a board discussion. So the owner of each of the stores would be on a board and it would be equal weight, so you wouldn't have to have store distribution, and then we'd be able to discuss new products coming, and that's where you could roll out. This is the product that we're wanting to do, and if we had a certain percentage, maybe like 75% of the board say, yeah, we could deal with that, then sure you'd be able to pass that through.
I do like I do kind of like where that's going. However, I'm not particularly fond of the growth of discount being in the hands of the satellite tenants. I'd much rather have it be in my hands. And in the I'll tell you what, um, we're really looking to get about a quarter of the premises to use for our discretion as far as like complimentary like vending, getting complimentary vendors, so like through subletting. And I would be okay with if we could get that quarter of the premises. I'd be totally cool with bringing you on board in the sense that because I'm assuming the things that you guys are kind of worried about is like direct competition as far as products go. We don't want to squash the little guy. Discount started out as a little guy. Just about every company does. And we understand that if you squash the little guy, like if we take out like three of your satellite tenants, that's three less rents that you're going to get. And if you aren't getting money, there's a possibility that the whole mall could go under. And if the mall goes under, Discount doesn't have a location here. We totally get that, and we're willing to play ball. But I'm just not keen of all of the satellites having a say in it. So if we can get that quarter piece, and you could sit in with me when I interview those vendors to make sure that they're going to be a good fit as far as the setting and the mood of the mall that you guys are trying to set, the mission that we have at Discount, um, and that it's not indirect or at least too indirect competition with some of the satellites. I think that we could definitely have a large step forward in this portion of the agreement.
So if I hear you right, you're looking for 25% of the say. Is that what
So
it
25% of so a quarter of the whole store, we would like to be able to sublet 25% of that.
On top of the 25% square footage you have already, or
so just like
everything you have right now?
Correct. So yeah, just the entire store. We want to be able to sublet a fourth of that out. Like for example, Macy's, they often do deals and they sublet to like Sephora. So we'd like to do something very similar to that. In the past, we've done things like that with our household wear, where we've had like Rachel Ray. We've kind of had a fourth of the store is like a Rachel Ray's corner kind of thing, and that's something that we want to do here as well.
Sure. One thing I would probably bring up, so that we're not mixing products,
Right.
we could if you wanted to do that, where you could sublet the store to some different companies. If you did that, then we would probably make a stipulation where you could sell the same product line but not the same brand. So if you sold kitchenware and it was Rachel Ray, you'd be exclusive to Rachel Ray, but the other smaller satellite stores, they'd sell Food Network or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if that's something that you guys want to do, I'm totally cool with that. That works for us. We're just trying to bring in some name brands that we've done in the past and just kind of boost the growth and discount in this area. And I also think that that's going to help boost the mall's productivity as well. So I definitely think that that's something that we could agree on. As long as you guys don't think that's going to be too indirect of competition.
I don't think so. If someone's like say like shoe line,
Right.
If someone's looking for Adidas shoes and Nike shoes, if only one store has Adidas or one store has Nikes, they're going to be drawn to both stores, and I think it would benefit for both. So
Perfect.
that'd
Yep.
be
No,
great.
I definitely think that that's a fair trade-off for us as far as that portion of the deal goes. So,
Great.
another couple things. It's very unlikely that it's going to happen. Discount is a very, very successful brand. We've got over 200 stores nationwide. Um, but in the unlikely event that Discount's just not performing in the mall, we would like to have control over being able to sell our lease. That way,
Mm,
we can get out of this, out from under this financial thumb as soon as possible if it's necessary. And the main point being is whenever there's more companies or more parties involved in a process like that, the longer it takes. I don't want to have to
mm,
go up some chain of authority to do a process that I could do in a month,
mm.
where it's going to take 6 months because that could be millions of dollars out the door
Yeah.
for the company. Is that something that would work with you guys?
Yes, I think if you went directly to us, we would be good with that. I think if we set about like a 60-day notice to then try to get another person in there, so it wasn't just kind of like a, hey, here you
Right,
go.
right, and I'll do this for you. As soon as I get whiff that we're looking. I mean, this isn't a decision that's made overnight.
Hmm.
If I get whiff that this is kind of where we're heading, I'm gonna let you know as soon as possible. And um, you know, in a sign of good faith, um, I will even kind of bring you on board with it in the sense that you guys can try and find a list of candidates, and we'll find a list of candidates that can take over the lease that's going to fit the setting and the mood and everything that you guys are trying to set for the mall. I just need, if you guys want to be involved in that process, I just need from you guys that we're going to be your top priority because if we're under that financial thumb and we need to get out, I need you guys to, if you want to be involved in that process with who's going to take
Hmm.
over the lease, I just need you guys on the ball on that as soon as possible. Is that something that seems fair to you?
Yeah, I think that that's fair. As long as we two go through at least the first part of our contract agreement, I think you're totally fine.
Okay, perfect. And I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but we do like to test new products out and
Hmm.
by region, by store before we launch it all nationally. And we've got some products that we're looking at that fall just a little bit outside the soft goods realm. And we're looking at this location as being perfect as far as testing some of those products out. Is that something that's going to be okay with you guys?
That for me, I think that's okay. However, I would be weary of squashing the satellite tenants a little bit, and that's where we might be able to use the board.
Right.
If we did a voting for the board and saying, would it be okay to trial this? We know it's going to be for a short time, and getting some of their say in it, at least for just the trial stuff. How would you? What would you think of that?
If I think that if we do that, I'd be okay with doing that, maybe with testing some of the products, but not with the complementary vendors.
Hmm.
But if we can drop that down from a 75% that you mentioned earlier, if we can bring that down to like a 55%, then I think that we can have a deal. Because, like I mentioned, we're not trying to squash the competition.
Right.
I mean, it's really we're all kind of a family in this thing, and my reasoning behind that, like I mentioned, is we don't want to squash them because then you don't get the rent. It's a domino effect.
Right.
Um, but we want to have that freedom to be able to grow discount, and the product that we're thinking about launching, um, in July is we're thinking about pushing out some like small refrigerators, apartment sized washers and dryers, and just kind of
Hmm.
seeing how that goes along with the discount brand. And I can't imagine that you guys have satellites that sell fridges in the middle of the mall. I
Yeah.
could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I would imagine you don't. So if that's something that works for you guys, then I definitely think that we could have an agreement today.
I think that'll be great. I think that's fun.
All right. Well, do you have any final questions for me before we get everything drawn up and sign it?
No, this was really good. I'm glad we could reach an agreement. I think this will be a successful venture.
All right. Perfect. Thanks.
You bet.